USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at usaa.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
You were scrolling down memory lane when you accidentally tapped your ex's post from years ago. Better delete the whole app. When scrolling's a bust, tacos are a must. Paso the old El Paso.
Pick up an old El Paso standard stuffed taco kit today.
When modern life gets rough, grab the timeless taste you love. Paso the old El Paso.
This summer, try the new Strato Frappuccino blended beverage at Starbucks. It's the classic blended iced coffee you know and love, now topped with a creamy layer of handcrafted brown sugar cold foam. Available for a limited time. Your Strato Frappuccino is ready at Starbucks.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We are so excited to bring you this show.
Our podcast is all about unraveling all of your favorite mysteries from the Assassin's Creed games. Each episode will be talking about a different topic in the Assassin's Creed universe. From Pieces of Eden, Solar Flares, and the Isu, to the Hidden Ones, the Order of Ancients, and of course, the Animus. We will seek to uncover it all.
So join us and maybe even take a leap of faith.
Hello and welcome to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. My name is Shelby. You probably also know me as She-Cup. If you're listening here for the first time, welcome and thank you so much for giving our podcast a try. Before we get into our topic for today, I am joined here by my co-host, Austin, also known as Teacup.
Hey.
Well, welcome. I'm pretty excited for our topic today. So why don't you just tell us what it's about?
So we're going to take a little bit of break from our Assassins versus Templars Part 2 structure. And I want to talk about instrument of the Templar Order, one that's going to play a big role in a lot of upcoming episodes. And that is the Black Cross, which you may be familiar with and hearing that, especially in our Otto Berg character deep dive.
So I have heard of the Black Cross before, only because of what you've told me about Otto Berg specifically and some of the other Templars. We all know Otto is my favorite Templar, if you will. But I'm wondering is the Black Cross something that was created by and for Assassin's Creed, or does it have a real world comparison also?
I asked this question too. I could not find anything. I might have not been looking in the right places, but I think very much the Black Cross is modern after the Inquisitors from the Spanish Inquisition. And these people who are designed to hunt and bring out these hidden people and corruption. which we'll talk about in a minute.
I was just going to say, so there is not an equivalent organization under the same name in our universe. There are organizations that do the same thing as the Black Cross, but as far as we know, there is not an organization named the Black Cross in our world that does this thing that Assassin's Creed is playing off of.
Not that I could find.
Okay.
So, but if you know of one, you're like, oh, this is the inspiration for this, and here's the history comparison, drop us a comment or email or hop on our Discord and let us know. I'd love to find out if that's a cool thing. So I'm going to talk about its structure, because the Black Cross is not a group; it is a person, but it is also an entity in and of itself. It's very interesting. The purpose of Black Cross Templars. So it is something a Templar is assigned, but only ever one Templar at a time. The Black Cross is responsible for identifying and rooting out individuals corrupted by power or by pieces of Eden held by the Templar Order, such as Templars seeking personal power instead of using power as a tool to bring about worldwide order. Other groups for investigating corruptions include theft of Templar resources for profit, nepotistic uses of their own family, and betrayal. Rodrigo Borgia. In addition to these duties, the Black Cross Templars are given the task of protecting the Kohinoor diamond. So in short, the Black Cross serves as the enforcer of Templar structures, even above the inner circle of the Templar Order itself.
So you say that the Black Cross's job is to hold Templars who seek personal power accountable, to investigate corruption, investigate theft, take over for eliminate nepotism and eliminate betrayal. And I'm just kind of like, every single Templar does this. So I'm kind of wondering, like, why do we have this if they all do it? And how are they held accountable? Which I'm sure you'll get into.
Yes. I will answer this shortly. The Black Cross, as far as we know, the first reference of it might be older, is the 1800s.
So, given with the link that the Templars have been around, this is a new person, new role.
Very new in the grand scheme. But also, like, if we think about their heritage, individuals like the Black Cross have existed. I'm thinking of like Alfred of Wessex or even Aspasia from Odyssey, like of this overcorrection on the Templar Order.
People who betray their own order, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So the requirements and this is what I found so interesting. This whole episode and research has been so fascinating to me, and I'll have a big discussion for us at the end with it. But the Black Cross is basically a Templar that's trained as an assassin. They have similar skill sets. They work alone and work in covert operations. In many ways, the Black Cross is an adaptation of the assassin training and structure, but modified to better suit the Templars' needs. In many ways, if we really want to think about it and make it, the Black Cross serves as the assassin for the Templar Order. And I'm saying assassin in the means of like the assassin's job is to protect the free will of humanity by any means necessary, other than harming the innocent. The Black Cross's responsibility is to maintain the integrity, structure, and ideals of the Templar Order.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting when you bring up this person is essentially trained as an assassin, but they're a Templar. And I know we've talked a lot about Otto Berg and how, like, oh, if he lived a different life, like, would he be an assassin? And I think that this just really illuminates how and why he's so hard for the assassins to take down, because essentially he is both an assassin and a Templar. Like, he is one of them. He is them. It's like fighting against one of their own.
Right. It is. And this kind of segues into another point, is the appointment of the Black Cross. Otto Berg is a self-appointed Black Cross, which makes him unique from the other Black Crosses. So the Black Cross is appointed by the inner sanctum of the order. So this is kind of the check and balance power structure that they set up. The Black Cross has authority over the inner sanctum, but they are appointed by the inner sanctum. they're not beholden to the sanctum should they suspect corruption within. So they can take action that is whatever, but they can do that. But a Black Cross may also train their own successor. But this has only been done on rare occasion. And Otto Berg kind of fits into this category because he is trained by the family of someone who, a descendant of a Black Cross. With their authority, the Black Cross has authority to do whatever is necessary to find anyone breaking Templar principles within the governing structures of a rite. Now, a Templar group, like we have an Assassin Brotherhood, or this is called a rite, like it's called the North American Rite of the Templar Order. Like that's what Hatham leads in Assassin's Creed 3. Including killing corrupt Templars. Their operations were not to be interfered with, period. All information in regards to the encounters of the Black Cross must be kept silent, and the rites were instructed to assist with anything requested by the Black Cross. So this person wields enormous power within the Templar Order. Enormous power. While the Black Cross only answers to the authority of the Inner Sanctum, their earliest operations were directed by what's called a Council of Elders, which is the same thing. It's an evolution in the Templar Order. Additionally, they also had authority to challenge the Inner Sanctum, though that power did not extend to Albert Bolden during his time as Black Cross, as the Inner Sanctum at the time had complete authority over the Black Cross. So at some point, the Inner Sanctum took authority of the Black Cross and kind of lessens its power. Which is one of the reasons that Otto Berg is self-appointed, because he wants to reclaim this power back. But we'll talk about that. Under extreme conditions, the Inner Sanctum could try to denounce a Black Cross by having the Templar presented for all the Grand Masters of the Templar Order for an official denouncement. The power to challenge the Inner Sanctum was taken back by the modern-day Black Cross Johanni Otto Berg because of Berg being a member of the Inner Sanctum. The position of Black Cross gained independence and was no longer required to serve the Inner Sanctum, while also consolidating powers because Berg oversaw the operations specialist and also commanded the assassin strike hunt down team of Assassin Hunter Sigma team. The situation require it. The Black Cross could also enlist the help of the assassins to accomplish their toll. And I have a big thing about that. The thing that strikes me about this is the amount of authority and power. The Black Cross is a reset button on the Templar Order.
Mm-hmm. So I agree. And that was one of my takeaways from this too, as you were talking. And I actually wrote down this question so I could remember to ask it. But this is kind of two questions wrapped up into one, but you're right. It is such a check on the power of the Inner Sanctum. And so my first question is, what was the event that caused the need for this?
Hold on to that question, because if you scroll down to the end of the notes,
we'll talk about it after the mid-break.
Yes.
Okay. I want to ask you my second question. My next question is, do we know if a Black Cross has ever actually challenged the Inner Sanctum?
Otto Berg.
He's the only one.
I would assume that it has happened before, but there's so little that we know about the other Black Crosses that it's hard. Other than and we'll talk about this in their history, so much of their history is associated with the Koh-i-Noor. And so they spend a lot of time doing that.
Okay. Seems like a little bit of a waste of their energy. But again, if the Inner Sanctum wants to keep them busy and away from what they're doing, it makes sense. So anyway, is it time for the mid-break?
It is.
All right. Well, let's get into the mid-break.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love, starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, "It's my classroom," you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, "I'm the teacher's pet," even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
You set the table, put on a playlist, even made the lasagna from scratch. And now you're wearing it. OxyClean Max Force Spray tackles tough, set-in stains the first time. Adulting is hard. Fighting stains shouldn't be. OxyClean Max Force. It's not clean unless it's OxyClean.
In the time it takes us to say, we're using Folgers Instant Coffee. Seamlessly blended with water and ice. A splash of whatever kind of milk is your thing. And gotta get that caramel drizzle. All to make a toasty, roasty, caramel iced coffee. You could be enjoying it. Every damn sip of it. Damn right. It's Folgers Instant.
Ma cos'è? Shoot! Shoot a flying demon! You weak fool! Get a job!
Christina!
Who's there?
Me!
Oh, it's you. I should have known.
May I come in?
Fine, but only for a minute.
A minute is all I need.
Indeed.
Well, wait, that came out wrong.
So, first thing we do in the mid-break is always we thank all of our patrons. Thank you guys so much for being our patrons. And we do have a new patron to shout out today, which is Sean S. And I think we shouted out Nathan P. or Chaos, our newest patron, prior to Sean on the previous episode. But in case we didn't, we're shouting you out again. But Patreon is the best way to support us. And we have some really awesome things coming to the Patreon this month and next month. This month, for our December patron chats, we're doing like a game show kind of thing for all of our patrons. No matter what tier you're at, you can come to the patron chat in December, and we're going to do a game show revolving around Assassin's Creed. Austin will be playing, so you can prove yourself better than the lore master himself. So if you're interested in that, you want those brownie points, those bragging rights, you definitely need to sign up on Patreon and come join us in December, and that is on December 14th, so you don't want to miss it. And then the next thing I have to tell you about the Patreon is that we are launching merch pretty soon. It will be stickers, and we are going to send them out twice a year. And so those designs will be coming out hopefully in the new year, probably like end of January time. So you will see that coming up pretty soon. And then the next best way to support us, if you don't support us on Patreon, is to leave us a rating or a review or just a question or comment on Spotify. Any of those things we'll accept and we'll read out. And so we do have one to read today, and this comes from G. Moreno, who commented on the Al-Mualim character deep dive and said this. First off, best AC podcast out there. I wondered if you heard the Ubisoft Echoes of History podcast on the real life history of Assassins and Templars. It would be a great companion to this episode. Thank you so much. We have heard of that podcast. I haven't listened to it because I work from home now, so I don't have a commute any longer. And I have so many podcasts I'm committed to. It's really hard to add another one into the mix, but I have heard of it. So thank you for bringing that up and shouting it out for our listeners. And then the last way that you can get involved with the podcast is to join us on Discord. We have a great community there. It is my favorite group of people on the internet, very awesome community. And so if you want to talk more about Assassin's Creed or any of the other games you're playing, not just Assassin's Creed, any games, come and hang out with us over on Discord. The link is in our bio. And I don't have any playthrough updates today because I haven't been playing Assassin's Creed lately. So we'll get back into that soon. But for now, let's get back into the episode.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss.
After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Love espresso, drip coffee, and cold brew? With the Ninja Luxe Cafe, if you can crave it, you can brew it. Espresso, balanced. Drip coffee, rich. Cold brew in a flash. With Barista Assist technology, you brew with no stress and no guesswork and make perfect silky microfoam hands-free from dairy or plant-based milks. Shop the Ninja Luxe Cafe at ninjakitchen.com.
Malaka! Malaka! Malaka!
Unless the legend is a lie, you are the man I long to meet. Renowned master and mentor. Ezio Auditore de La La La. Prego. Forgive me. I have a hard time remembering that Italian gibberish.
I'll see you all at the selection ceremony, ladies. I especially hope you show up.
Let me guess. He's rich.
Yeah, so I'm going to go over kind of brief early history, and then we'll get into their known Black Crosses and a little bit of discussion. So possibly in the 1800s, but it's possible that it was earlier because we don't really know. The Templar Inner Sanctum, in order to prevent corruption and stop Grand Masters from flaunting the precepts of the order, they create the position of the Black Cross. Now, it's supposed to be a check. For most of its history, the Black Cross is almost exclusively involved in hunts for the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which Otto Berg is no exception to that pattern, because he also hunts for the diamond while also trying to root out the instruments of the first will in the order. You can learn more about all of that if you check out our Otto Berg character deep dive or our Koh-i-Noor episode to learn more about the events that the Black Cross takes part in. But I don't want to go too deep into that because we would be here for 2 hours. And this is more about the entity itself, not the history or everything that goes on there. So before I move on to who we know have been Black Crosses in the Templar Order, do you have any other questions that wouldn't get answered in our discussion that's coming?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
So our Black Crosses, there's only been 5 that we know of. So Travis O'Lear, which is maybe the first, but again, we don't know. Solomon Bolden, Jean Vandergraaf, Albert Bolden, and then Juhani Otto Berg. So this is the discussion that I just want to offer, and I'm going to monologue for a minute. I think the addition of the Black Cross offers lore that is very interesting into the mindset of the Templar Order. The Black Cross isn't created by some Templar zealot who thinks that the order has gone off track and they need it to get back on track. So this is different than, say, Alfred of Wessex or Aspasia, who are these zealots almost for the cause and want to get the order back in track. The Black Cross is created by the Templar Inner Sanctum themselves. This is an established structure and governing body of the Templars. This points to that the leaders of the Templars at the time of this creation did not believe the order to be above the basic human impulses. This is interesting to me because so much of what we see in the game, I feel like this is contrary to. The Templars so much present themselves as we're the enlightened ones who rise above our basic human instincts and tendencies towards self-destruction. We're the ones who are good enough to lead you through this. The creation of the Black Cross indicates that the Templars recognize that they aren't. So much so that the Black Cross has the ability to enlist the help of their historic enemy to ensure the purity of the order. Furthermore, there has only been 5 in 200 years. That is significant. This is not a position that is fully utilized. And a quote from Berg's time, when he basically makes a Black Cross, like he has someone pose at the Black Cross while he's at the Inner Sanctum so that they don't suspect that he is the Black Cross. He says, "You all know as well as I do why the Black Cross was created, what it means." That's a threat.
Yeah, it really is.
So this leads to Shelby's question earlier, and my question of this is, what happened to prompt the creation of this position?
Yeah. To me, I mean, just the fact that there's only been 5 over 200 years, to me, it's like, okay, well, these people are not serving in this position for 40 years each. Like, there's just no way. So there have been times in history where there hasn't been a Black Cross. And that's pretty significant because that means there's no one there who's going to check the power of the Templars. But to me, I kind of wonder, like, because we know that the Templar Grandmasters over the years, they have flagrantly violated these rules, right? Like they have participated in nepotism. They've hired their children. They have bribed people. They have done all the things to keep themselves in power. And so I wonder if there was an incident where the Templar Inner Sanctum was like, this pattern is not working for us. Like, we really need somebody who is going to help us keep more in line with what we need to be doing, who's going to stay like on our asses basically to make sure that we're accomplishing our goals. Because I mean, literally all the Templar leaders, minus a few exceptions, fall into these categories of the rules that they've broken.
Well, now I want to preface this, like, I want to talk about the 300 years prior to this. So starting in like the turn of the 16th century, so the early 1500s. So the end of Ezio's hunt of the Borgia up to this point, and talk about the Templar leaders and what has happened. So we have Rodrigo Borgia, who solely participates in nepotism and is so obsessed with these pieces of Eden. Even Cesare Borgia, who is so obsessed to a fault that his own father feels like he needs to be put down into a fault. Then we jump in there and, Revelation, those Templars seem to be on track of manipulating. But then we get to Assassin's Creed 3, and I love Haytham, but he allows his own personal judgment and not the further of the Templar Order to get in the way. Connor is a weakness for Haytham, whether he wants to admit it or not.
But also for Haytham, like he doesn't rein in his underlings.
Mm-hmm.
They abuse their power so much. And I don't think Haytham necessarily abuses his power, but like Charles Lee does, all of his other underlings do, and he doesn't rein that in.
Right. Then you bring this up into the French Revolution, and there's a Templar who is basically harboring an assassin. They make a truce with the assassins and kind of abandon all their ideals for their own power. And then there's more things that happen. And by the time you get to when this is supposed to be created, the Templars have suffered 300 years of crushing defeats, like crushing defeats. And so I think it does beg the question that they looked and said, we got to do something. But what I want to know, and the question that I want to know is what event prompted them to look at their history and go, we've got to fix something.
Because it had to be really bad, like Borgia level bad.
But just the amount of power that the Black Cross wields is unprecedented. So much that if you've read the comics, and it's a comic, you can feel the tension and fear in the inner sanctum from the page when the Black Cross enters the room. Because it goes back to this quote. You all know why the Black Cross was created and what it means.
I also think that fear that they have, it makes sense as to why they try to keep the Black Cross busy with all of these fetch quests and busy work protecting the Koh-i-Noor diamond, because if they're out doing that, they don't have time to look in on the inner circle and make sure that everything's running the way it should.
But it's interesting to me, like, you would think that like a position of the Black Cross in the Templar Order would be like this master assassin hunter. And, Berg is a master assassin hunter, period. But the Templar is the hunter of Templars. And it has just been a very interesting journey for me to think about, like, the Templars at the time having so much self-awareness to saying, oh, we need a check on our power. Because most of the time, an organization like that is going to be too proud to ever admit that they need a check on their power.
But I also, at the same time, wonder if it probably wasn't just like, oh, the Templars decided. I wonder if somebody like Alfred, who is the king, the monarch of a country, and who is also the Grand Master, who's basically decided, like, unilaterally, we can't do this anymore. Like, we've got to have some reform, because you're right. Like, institutions, organizations don't just up and decide, oh yeah, let's give ourselves more rules that we have to follow. Like, let's have us have to write more reports. Like, nobody ever willingly does that. It's just not human nature. And so I do wonder if there was one person who was like not fully committed who made the decision to implement this.
Mm-hmm. Or even a more intriguing possibility, maybe the assassins turned it on their head and infiltrated the inner sanctum of the Templars.
That's a lot of faith in the assassins that I don't frankly have right now.
I think it's not natural for the assassins, because I feel like to get into the inner sanctum levels of the Templar Order, you would have to do a lot of stuff that would break the creed.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, that's really the Black Cross in overview. Very intriguing, very interesting. I think Assassin's Creed could make a killer game playing as the Black Cross.
Yes, I completely agree. And I would love to play as Otso. That would be amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I think this would make a great game, and I think this would also make a really good like a graphic novel series where, like, maybe it's Black Cross, you have a game where you play as them, and like that's your RPG character, and like going forward in the graphic novel series, you have like you follow their adventures afterwards, but they're always like masked or something, so you never really know their full identity, and so then you can like keep people's choices, kind of like what they do with Revan in Star Wars. I feel like that would be really fun, different for Ubisoft, since they typically just decide and say, okay, this is what's canon. But I agree with you. I think this could be a really compelling story for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am just very intrigued. Yeah, so that's all we got for this episode. Not a lot of information, but definitely very, very lore heavy and interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, as always, for doing the research and bringing it and talking about it. This was a really interesting episode, and I'm glad we talked about it. And I do think it will be the foundation for a few more episodes along the way. So, thank you all for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. We will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. You can find us on Twitter at AC Lorecast.
If you have any lore questions or topics to unpack, join our Cups Podcasting and More Discord server. It's the best place on the internet. You can also support us financially through our Patreon. Find us on patreon.com/Assassin's Creed Lorecast. The Assassin's Creed Lorecast is part of the Robots Radio Network. For more information about the Robots Radio Network, join the Discord server via the link in our episode's description.
If you enjoyed the show or learned something new today, please subscribe, leave us a review, and join the Patreon. And if you enjoyed our intro and outro music, make sure you give a big thank you to Pipeman Studios. Thank you, Pipeman. Thanks again for listening to the Assassin's Creed Lorecast. And always remember, Assassins, stay in the shadows to serve the light.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.
Want to live better? We've got a lot of work to do. Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live Better Now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live Better Now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.